Alright, I want to talk a little bit about hunting tactics while you're floating the river. And one of the first things is to just constantly remember that sound travels a long distance over water. We've got a flat surface that goes clear around the next bend right here. And so what'll happen is any noises that you make in the boat are going to echo around that bend. So talking, things like that, or squeaky oar locks. If you've got a squeaky oar lock, you want to stop and maybe put some graphite on it, or if you have some gun oil, maybe put a little bit of that in there to quiet that squeaky oar lock. Also, when you're rowing, you want to keep your oars rotated properly so you're not constantly going like that. That makes a lot of noise, and that noise will carry a long ways. You can talk when you're floating, but you want to keep your voice really low and avoid sounds that are going to carry a long ways, like s, loud s's and stuff like that. That's going to carry a lot farther. So keep it really quiet. Sometimes what I like to do when I'm drifting, if I've got a high bank on one side or another, what I'll do is I'll wait till we're in a nice flat deep section, and I'll take one of my oars and I'll tuck it underneath the seat like that, and then I can do the same thing with the other one, just like that, and then I've got both hands free and I can glass. And in some situations, oh, by the way, the reason why you want to keep your oars out of the water, if you leave your downstream oar hanging in the water, what can happen is that the blade can drop and get pinned against the bottom, and it can actually crab the whole boat right over. So here we are, we're just drifting along, it's nice and quiet. If I want to glass over a high bank, I can even stand up in the boat like this, and I can see right over that cut bank and look around with my binocular and maybe spot an animal that I wouldn't be able to see otherwise. We're hunting moose on this trip, and so and also the vegetation is really close to the river, so most of our game is going to be spotted right in the river corridor. On this hunt, we've seen several bulls that have been either in the river or standing on the river bank, and so that's where you want to be when you're hunting.
Don't shoot them in the water.
And don't shoot them in the water. So in this case, what I would do if I was going to camp on that point back there is I would set up my camp and everything, and then when I went out to hunt in the morning, I would just take the boat across the river or wade across if it's shallow enough, and then I would set on my stand over there. A strategy with moose hunting is to sit tight, and that's really hard to get people to do, especially elk hunters that are used to being proactive and walking around in the woods quite a bit. But this time of the year, we're hunting after the 10th of September. The bulls are on the move, they're looking for cows, and so the longer you can sit still in one place, the better your odds are, generally speaking. Moose will move to you. If you're hunting in an area that has plenty of game, you're going to have animals coming right to you along the riverbank as they're looking for cows. So you don't want to be out there moving around a lot. So we sit on stands quite a bit. We'll either find some high ground and sit there all day and glass, or we'll get into a spot like that bend back there that we just talked about, where you can glass upstream and downstream, but you'll stay put in that spot all day. Also, the general pattern that we've seen with moose is they're pretty active during the morning hours, but they're not an early morning animal so much as you see with bears. Most of the moose that we've killed have been between 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock in the morning, or in the afternoon. On this hunt, we've seen a lot of activity at midday even, and that's just a function of the bulls out there looking for cows. They're not sitting very long at all. We killed a bull on this hunt that had hardly anything in his stomach at all. So he's out there looking for cows. He's not even feeding. So one of the rules of thumb is just to stay put. Bring a good chair to sit in and a paperback book or something, and just sit quiet, and you'll find game coming right by you.